Welcome back to Mik'd Up. We're brought to you by Sterling Automotive. I am excited to introduce our next guest. It's the LSU Florida week. There's a lot of tradition, a lot of history, a lot of rivalry. On3 beat writer Nick Torre for the Florida Gators is so kind enough. I'm sorry for ruining your event, or you're welcome for taking you out an event you don't want to be. I don't know if you want to be there or not, but thank you for coming on, Nick.
No problem. I just hope it's not too loud since I'm outside.
No. Listen, we're in a bar right now. We do our show from Uncle Earl's on Friday, so we got a little energy going in here. So you're good. You sound great.
All right.
Let's get into it, man. The challenges I think for Florida and LSU have been very similar throughout the course of the year, right? Like the offenses have been very inconsistent. The quarterbacks have been very inconsistent. Anthony Richardson is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league, but he just hasn't been able to put it together consistently throughout the course of the year. What are the thoughts on him, and what are the what's the game plan going forward, and what does the coaching staff feel about Anthony Richardson?
Yeah, I think it's just frustrating because the talent and the potential is obvious and clear, and you see the way he plays against Utah and the way he played even in a loss at Tennessee, and you see glimpses of it, and then you get some games against Kentucky and last week against Missouri. So really, it's for him, it's just playing his game and not turning the ball over. That's been a huge issue for him this year, just turning the ball over every game. So Florida's getting a little bit healthier at the quarterback position behind him. So maybe that'll open up more opportunities for him to run. I think without Jack Miller, who had been sideline with a thumb injury, you didn't have any depth. You had a true freshman, a walk-on, and a redshirt freshman. So maybe you weren't running him because you knew that you didn't have anything behind him if he were to get hurt, and he does have an injury history.
What are being from Louisiana, Billy Napier, obviously a lot of people in Baton Rouge maybe wanted Billy Napier, whether he was a serious candidate or not, that is to be determined. But what are the early thoughts on Billy Napier, and what's the feedback from the fans and the players in Florida?
Yeah, right now, especially after the landing two recruits yesterday, they're loving Billy Napier. But LSU fans and Florida fans are similar. That might change depending on commitments or decommitments. But I think Florida fans in general like the direction of the program. It's very organized. He has 800 staff and analysts, something that Florida hasn't ever had before. And I think kind of like Brian Kelly at LSU, like you had to temper expectations for your first year with a coach, and then Florida goes out and beats Utah week 1, and now all of a sudden most fans are like, all right, we're winning the championship.
Fans are very reasonable, right?
Right. Always.
Yeah.
Always. But in general, I think fans trust Billy, and they think the program is headed in the right direction.
What are the challenges LSU brings to Florida? Obviously, Florida's playing at home. They're the favorites this weekend. LSU had an abysmal game last weekend against Tennessee, a team that Florida played extremely well against. What's the feelings of LSU coming there, and what's the game plan going forward? Or what are the worries with LSU coming to Florida?
The worries are Jaden Daniels and his running ability, and Florida being able to set the edge and keep him contained in the pocket because he's dangerous with his legs. You don't often have a quarterback leading LSU in rushing. So I think I think Florida's game plan will be make Jaden Daniels beat us with his arm. And if LSU wins because Jaden Daniels throws for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, they'll say, all right, that's fine.
Yeah, right.
He beat us then.
Listen, I hope he throws for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. No, I'm not. I hope. I haven't seen it. I hope though.
I don't want to deal with Florida fans if that happens.
Oh, Nick, I think it's been pretty clear as you watch games this year, especially how things have gone. To be at the top of this conference, this division, consistency in what you do is very, very, very important. What are you expecting to see out of two teams that are kind of young, kind of new to each other, playing in a game that for both of them really mean a lot towards the rest of their season? What are you expecting to see out of this game?
Well, I think in 10 years covering Florida, I learned to not have any expectations, or if I do, to forget them when LSU and Florida play. If it's Jacob Hester converting, 40 fourth down runs, Les
41.
Miles going
41.
for it. Yeah. If it's over the head, no look pass that the football bounces directly into a kicker's gut. I've learned to throw out any conventional wisdom in this game. I'm sad that when the league expands, it probably won't be a yearly rivalry. It's one of my favorite ones. It's always tightly contested. I think right now this game might mean more to Billy Napier and his coaching staff. There's so many guys on the staff from Louisiana. Corey Raymond, Jamar Jaluk, Rob Sale was there. So there's a bunch of guys I think that this game means a lot. And Billy Napier hasn't said that. We've asked him a bunch this week. Hasn't admitted it, but I think this game definitely means a lot to this coaching staff, considering, I think a lot of them would have liked to get a phone call from Scott Woodward.
Well, that's where I was going to go. I think that it may be a big for Billy and those guys because they feel like maybe they weren't taken seriously for the job, but it's also big on this side because I think a lot of fans and a lot of people here in South Louisiana wanted Billy Napier to be a serious candidate for this job. They thought he maybe should have gotten the job, and they get a guy who maybe on the surface wasn't as popular as Billy Napier. So for the coaching staff here, it's like, shit, if we go out and we drop the ball and we lose and Billy comes in and beats literally head-to-head to the coach that got the job over him, I think that it's going to be it's. I don't want to deal with the fans just the way you don't want to deal with the fans. If Jay Daniels throws for 405, I don't want to deal with the fans if we lay an egg and it's not a good game. But from what he did at UL, as far as build a culture and create a winning environment there and bring in the talent that doesn't usually get to UL, are you seeing some of the same things that he's doing out there in Florida?
Yeah, I think it's just maybe on a little bigger scale.
Yeah.
I feel like Florida will have more resources than UL. I've seen some pretty bad offensive lines at Florida, and I think Florida's one of the only schools, if not the only school, in the country that has two offensive line coaches, and Florida's offensive line has been fantastic this year. So from that standpoint, from having all of the analysts and people that are handling, recruiting and NIL and all this stuff, I think just the structure of the program is something that I hadn't seen and he's my fourth coach that I've covered at Florida, so it's something that I hadn't seen here. Does that win football games? Maybe not. But, right now it seems to be, at least a well-run machine.
You speak about the coaches and the coaching staff from there. I have a pretty extensive history with Corey Raymond, being from the same hometown, knowing him a lot. Can you speak on the job that he's done there so far and the job that he's being asked to do as basically kind of a level up from the job that he had here?
Yeah, I think, well, first off, I still haven't gotten used to seeing him in orange and blue.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd see
you and me both.
You and me both,
yeah.
brother.
I think he wears more black with like a Gator head logo than an orange or blue. But but I mean, his resume speaks for itself, and I think he's probably not doing anything different, at Florida than he had been. Florida has an unbelievably impressive defensive back recruiting class, and then you look at how the defensive backs are playing now. His cornerbacks specifically, they've been good this year.
Right.
So I think you're probably getting the same Corey Raymond that you've seen, for a decade at LSU. But yeah, Florida fans are certainly happy that he's on this side of the rivalry now.
I'm not.
But
that's just me.
But you
I speak for myself.
So you speak about the defense, you speak about the secondary. LSU, Florida has been able to basically just be a kind of a one-track mind team, right? Like they've struggled. Y'all have struggled throwing the football. They run the ball extremely well. LSU's strength on defense is their front seven, is being able to stop it. Now, obviously, last week there were some big holes with the Tennessee offense. What challenges does LSU's defensive front bring to Florida this weekend?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that's strength versus strength.
Right.
I mentioned Florida's offensive line already. And we'll have to see if Osiris Torrance, starting right guard, plays. He's questionable on the depth chart Wednesday. I think he will. Florida, I think, needs to run the ball. If you watch Philly's teams at UL, they kind of ran the ball to set up the pass. And if you have a quarterback like Anthony Richardson who struggled to be consistent passing, he threw the ball over the yard in Knoxville, but you don't get that consistently. So I think they need to be able to run, just set up some play action, to set up some other things. So I think at least early, you might have to make some halftime adjustments. I think at least early, Florida will, try to go in and establish a run and establish some kind of presence there.
Has a lot been made? I don't know if they've asked this already. I was running around kind of connecting stuff, but where's the state of the Florida program in comparison to the LSU program? Or how do you view LSU coming into Florida? I guess is the way I want to ask this. Does LSU feel like a threat at all? I mean, obviously your favorite at home against an LSU team, and everybody knows how wonky this series has been. But I'm just wondering what the thoughts of actual fans are of LSU at this point in the season.
I think fans are cautiously optimistic. I mean, the LSU team in 2020 was probably the worst in 20 years.
That's fair.
And then the fog rolls in, and you throw a shoe and you lose at home.
They explained college football in 2 sentences.
You go to LSU with a bad taste in your mouth. The following year, N.O. was already fired, even though it wasn't public yet, and you lose. So I think Florida fans are optimistic because they think that Florida has the better team. But you really never know what could happen in these games. So I think there is, losing 3 in a row, especially the way the last 2 went down. Florida fans, would love to see a 50-0 game tomorrow. I don't think that's going to be the case. I expect a one-score game, a close game going down to the wire.
That's kind of what I want to get to. Look, I hope LSU goes out there. I just hope it's a really good game. I hope both teams have fun. No, I'm just joking. I hope it's a really good game.
I hope everybody competes.
I hope it's a really good game because I do not like to watch games that are very one-sided the opposite way. But to let you go, I know I don't want to keep you too long. I know you're in an event. What is your score predictions for this weekend? And then I'm going to let you go and enjoy your weekend.
I think I did 31-27 Florida.
Okay.
Whoa, big over.
Big over. I've been terrible picking games, but I've been fantastic picking over/under.
Okay, well, I love that because I am taking the over LSU, and I have not been very good picking the games, but I'm with you. If you're good with the overs, I'm good with that over. I'd like it to be flipped.
Flip my pick.
I would like it to be flipped, but I'll take the over.
Well, if it goes under, then I blame you. It wasn't
okay.
me.
Deal. That's deal. We can talk that through after.
The winner has to go on the other person's show.
There you go.
Or loser.
There you go. There you go. Nick, man, I appreciate your time. I know it's tough to get out on a Friday, but I appreciate it, man. And good luck this weekend. And hopefully we can have you back on.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.